Polynesia. Cue the conch shell, cue the rainbow lights, cue the breeze from the Pacific whispering through the coconut trees. Because today's guest is a living, breathing celebration of culture, courage, and a queen. Born in the breathtaking village of Fanga'alu in American Samoa, where the ocean kisses the cliffs and the village aunties always knows your business first. So, before you do, right? So, Tifaimoana Aiava grew up surrounded by faith, family, and fierce Fa'asamoa values. She was raised on the big island of Hawaii, where lava meets the sea and aloha is the way of life. From these islands, she learned that strength doesn't always roar. Sometimes it sings in hymns, dances in Siva, and shines in the light of quiet resilience of a young girl, boy, who always knew she was always meant to sparkle. Now reigning in Anchorage, Alaska, Tifa is a proud trans queen, a fearless LGBT advocate, and a powerhouse president of Utopia, Alaska. She's not just making space, she's redefining it. Tifa is the one who would walk in a pride parade in full length of sequin gown, snow boots, and a crown that could redirect satellites. When someone asks her, Mary, aren't you cold? She says, honey, I am from Fa'aadu and I was raised in salt water and sunlight. I don't freeze, I sparkle. This Pride Month, we honor the voices that rise from villages, from volcanoes, from frozen streets, and remind us that identity is just not personal, it's powerful. So, this is the story, the strength, the sparkle. This is Tifa Imoana Aiava. Welcome, Tifa.
Hi, thank you so much for
Hi.
having me, Eileen.
You're welcome.
Hello.
So, how's it going? How was your day?
My day went pretty well. You know what? It was such a busy day today. I had a lot of conference at work. After work today, I had to attend to my other meeting for the Utopia Alaska organization, and now here I am on this beautiful podcast that I couldn't wait to be part of all day today. So thank you again for having me.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. And thank you again for accepting and gracing us on our Pulse of Polynesian podcast.
Of
So
course.
I wanted to start off, sorry, I wanted to start off with an icebreaker. What's your alter ego's name when the heels come out? Because
You
you queens like to get dressed up, dolled up, and have fun.
Period. You know what, Eileen? Growing up, I love listening to music, and my favorite artists are always Beyonce, Nicki Minaj,
Mhm.
Rihanna, and so forth. And those are my alter ego. You know, when I hear music of Beyonce, na 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 diva is a female, like hype me up. You know, the moment when I wake up in the morning to getting ready for work and looking inside the mirror and just hearing Alexa playing Beyonce or playing any of my alter ego girls,
Yes.
that just motivates me to like, girl, be that girl. Go out there and make your money. Go out there and win the world. You know, go out there and win the day. That's those are my alter ego, are my artists. You know, my artist people that famous people that enjoy listening to and singing along with. So yeah,
Okay. Now I see where that fierce comes out from, right? So let's
girl.
get into it, right? So, when did you first feel seen, like truly seen for who you are or for who is for being Tifa?
Well, I will say that, you know, in American Samoa, right? I
Mhm.
will say that going to school, I feel like I was being seen as, because Tifa is my real name, it's even my birth name as well. So when I am at school, out in public, with my siblings, with my aunties, with my uncles. I feel seen all the time, 24/7. But the moment I go home, this is like when I was young. When the moment I go
Mm-hmm.
home, it's back to cleaning the kitchen, fuluipu. Like when you say feel seen, like are you talking about like what exactly are you trying to say? Like, are you asking like this, like who
Or
I am as a trans,
yes,
or?
yes, as a
Oh, okay.
trans.
Yes, as a trans, I always feel seen when I go to school, with my friends, with the teachers inside class. I've always felt like I was being seen for who I am. Um, Separating that from when going home to my parents and the family. So.
I love it. Thank you. So, was there a reason why you could only come out when you were at school but not at home? Was home just, with strict parents? Is that why?
Absolutely. So I believe every Fafafine, every trans person has their own story, but here goes mine. So, growing up, I mean, when I go to school, like I said, I do feel seen. I can be myself because I felt like it was a safe space for me to come out and just be that trans Tifa. But going
Mm-hmm.
home is like I have to um completely change myself into like a little boy, to like going doing the umu and go fight and all those kind of men boys for outside of the house. So
Mm-hmm.
um I grew up with a very strict father, so um he always taught me to do boy stuff like alufale umu, alufale lisaka, and go even sports wise too. It was like sauka ka alo lakapi, sauka ka alo, all of those things, and yeah, that's my reason.
Okay, well, thank you. Was there ever a moment, Tifa, you, whenever you felt like you had to dim your light to survive?
Absolutely. Yes, of course. When we first moved to Hilo, Hawaii, the big island, because my mother
Mhm.
wanted to continue her education, going back to school. Um, in American Samoa, it's very accepting, and in
Mhm.
school, elementary, going to elementary school in Hilo, Hawaii was completely different because of who I was and how I walked. I'm talking about the way I walk, the way I talk, the way I, my my feminine side, and it was very hard. Like I had to, it was very hard because that's when I first experienced bullies from other students, from other kids during that time, and for me, it was um it was very hard for me to be my true authentic self, versus when I was in American Samoa, where I had so many uplifting friends and so many friends who were there for me, as a Fafafine, as a very young Fafafine.
Mhm.
But coming to America in the Big Island, Hawaii, in Hilo, I was always I had to dim my lights, meaning I have to hide myself, and I had to hide that character of me, being that Fafafine person and who's dying to come out, right? Because of all the bullies and all the words naming and the name calling, and it
Mhm.
was just very uncomfortable for me because it's it's something that I wish to anyone, not even my worst enemy, to go through, because it was hard, like trying to deepen your voice and trying to walk straight, trying to um hang out where the guys are at. And you know what? And one thing I'm so grateful about the school, Eileen, like growing up, is that there were so many other Polynesian people there who understand,
Mhm.
Fafafines, that there was another, third gender, I call it, in American Samoa here in in Hilo, or at Hilo, during the time. So yeah, that was the time when I had to dim my lights and try to fit in with other people, with other students, other
Mhm.
kids, to 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 make it, to keep going. And it was very hard to be myself when the whole time when I was acting like a boy in elementary days, it was very hard
Hmm.
for me to it was very hard for me to like continue, but I had to fake it to make it, in school, so that the students will leave me alone and not like bully me or calling me names, or because it was really bad, Eileen. It was like to the point where um I was bullied inside the bathroom. I was bullied with my lockers.
I'm
It was like names. Like when I opened my locker, the first thing that popped out was the a paper with the big word, faggot on it, and it was like a lot of negativity. It was like I felt like my world was going downhill starting from that point when we first moved to
hmm.
Hilo. And of course, the language of learning English wasn't. Of course, the English was not my first language, and that was
Right.
another struggle for me too, to learn the English language so that I can always fit in with everyone else. So, going there in elementary school, I mean, it was very hard for me because the grades was not giving like A, B's or C's. It was more so giving like really bad grades that I don't want anyone to have, because
Right.
of learning the language. But I'm so grateful for my parents, um for hiring tutors, making me stay after school, to finish up homework and continue to learn the language, speaking it at home and at school at the same time, trying to get used to it. And now she can't stop talking English.
And I love it. And again, you're just thriving, sis. And, I'm sorry you had to go through bullying at an early age. During when, and I just wanted to touch base on when you were bullied, who was your support system at that time? Like you talked about your parents, your friends, but who was there to support you through this hard time for you?
Well, I had my older sister. Her name is Jennifer, and she was the first person that I came out to about my sexual identity, about my gender, about myself. I talked
Hmm.
to her. I opened up to her about everything that what I was going through, and I opened up to her about who I like, and this is who I am, and either do you feel comfortable, or I remember every time we have dinner, Eileen, we used to live in a very small apartments that is only 2 bedrooms, and there was 11 of us that lives in there. So me and my older sister, when it's time to for dinner time, of course, we always let the parents eat first, and then when it's time
Hmm.
for us to eat, me and my sister would always go outside. We have a nice little yard in front of our house where me and my sister would go eat there, and I would start talking to her about myself, right? About like
Right.
trying to, and I'm so grateful to have a sister who listens, right? And who listens to me
Hmm.
and be there for me, listening to my stories. And that's when it slowly she was my strong supporter. But at school, I do have a brother who's 1 year older than me that I run to when like when bullies are coming my way. I also hang out with a lot of Micronesian people in Hawaii, and a lot of them were Marshallese, Chukis, and those were the people that I don't know. Like when I see them, the first thing that came to my mind was home because they look like my people. They look
Right.
like Samoans. And when I see them, I was like, oh my gosh, are you Samoan? But they said no. And I started to learn their language. I started to learn their culture and where they're from, I never knew they
Hmm.
exist. Right. So now that I got to um get to know them and,
Know
and,
that.
and learn
Yeah.
about themselves. And it was pretty good. I loved it. I enjoyed it. My Micronesian friend, there was an ESL teacher too as well in elementary days. I remember her name was Mrs. Lee.
Hmm.
She was so nice. Very very nice woman who always helped me out with my school. And I also have my tutors who I talked to. It was like a therapy after school, like, not only talking to them about myself, for them helping me with my homework and learning the language. It was all over. It was like a lot of subjects that they could answer for me, within that short period of time after school.
Oh, wow. So good. I mean, you really truly had a good support system, and you acknowledging them. I mean, I
Hmm.
hope they look onto your podcast and be like, "Oh my gosh, there goes Tifa,"
I
you know,
know.
right? So, thank you to all the Polynesian various backgrounds that helped you along your way, right, through those hard times. How was
Yes.
your So we're gonna move on to another question. How was your relationship with your parents as you became more of you? When I say you, meaning more trans.
Well, my relationship with my parents, Eileen, I will say that I am second to the youngest. But before my sister was born, I felt like I was the spoiled one, and like the feeling that I had was I can just be my true authentic self in front of my mom and dad, right?
Mhm.
And where I felt safe. Obviously, I felt like because those are my parents. Um, I feel like my dad was having a hard time accepting me for who I was because of my safety, right?
Mhm.
Um because of myself, of who I am. But knowing my mom, she knew from the very beginning that I was a Fafafine when I was born. The way I walk, the way I talk. I mean, she could not. None of them could change me to be straight. And girl, like I'm talking about elementary school back in Matafao Elementary in Fa'alu. I was not allowed to hang out with girls, but like I said, at school I felt seen because I was playing tip
Mhm.
top, I was playing tetherball, I was playing all the girl sport. Like I was doing cheerleading on the side, and when my brother, me and him get into it, like get into a fight or something, he would end up telling my
Mhm.
mom or telling my dad, and that's when my dad is like more strict on me and telling me like, be a man, you're the man, do your deeper voice, do your deep voice, answer
Mhm.
my question, But at the end of the day, I'm so grateful because my mom actually paved ways for me to come out for who I am because she is the reason why I came out of the closet, to be honest. Her and my older sister, and slowly my siblings, my brothers, we
Mhm.
did have a talk too. So yeah, I mean, my relationship with my parents, it was pretty good. It was just that my dad was having a hard time accepting me because of my safety, and with the trans, I don't know what the trans went to during his years and during his days,
Mhm.
but this is me growing up as one of the Fafafinas, and um, he is now very accepting and very just let it go. Just one of his words was "Wamakua fe oko ia." Well, you guys are now grown. You guys can do whatever you guys want. And ta-da! I'm here. Oh yeah,
Yes, Daddy. Thank you for accepting me, right? So
welcome.
looking back, right? So what was the first moment that you realized you were different and powerful in your life?
Eileen, can you hear me? Can you hear me? Okay. Okay. Thank you. Testing. Okay. Can you hear me? Okay.
Lay, can you hear me? Oh my gosh. I don't know what happened. Okay. So, sister, looking back, what was the first moment you realized you were different, powerful because of it?
You see, I think the whole thing about being a Fafafine, for me personally, it comes
Hmm.
naturally. It's not something that I pick and choose. You know, I don't choose to just like a girl or like a boy, and this is the route I'm gonna take. You know, I knew from the very beginning that when I was brought into this world, you know, I would say probably the moment where my brain was getting to understand things, or the moment where I understand, like, know how to talk. I
Hmm.
knew from the very beginning that I was interested in men. I was interested in boys. I was interested. Those were my kind of people that I want to be with. You know, I didn't. It's something that it comes naturally. And if I wasn't born to just pick who I want to choose and go ahead and take that route. No, it
Hmm.
was never that. It just comes naturally, and it's very hard to explain in a way, but it's also very hard to um it's very hard to force myself to, you know, you were born this, so act that way, you know.
Right.
It's very hard for me to act that way when I know that I don't want to be this way. I chose I when I see something that I'm attracted to, like, I'm gonna find someone that I can talk to, that I can trust, that I can, you know, open up to about my sexuality. And I will tell
Hmm.
them about, like I said before, my sister was the one that I opened up to. And this question was the question that she asked me in the beginning. So she thought that it's something that I just chose to do. No, it's not something that I chose to do. It's something that comes naturally into me. And I wanted to take that route of, because I even try to have girlfriends, you know, during that time. I remember there was a moment where I try to have a girlfriend and trying to be with a girl, and it was just very
Oh.
disgusting. It was, it was.
How
I know
old were
it's
you?
so bad.
Oh my
Girl, I
gosh.
was so young. I was like probably like in seventh grade.
Oh
I
my
was trying so
God.
hard um to like a girl, and I was trying to be with a that girl. Oh no, I feel like it wasn't for me. It was, I felt like I want to throw up. I felt like I want to, like, no thank you. I love you as my sister. I love you as my friend, but this is not it. Like, this, more than that, it's you're out the door if you're a girl, you
Oh,
know.
wow. It
So
was like dating yourself, right,
it was like
sis?
dating myself. No, actually,
Oh.
dating myself, it would be a whole different story. But dating a girl who, you know, it would be like, girl, no, thank you. I'm okay. Yeah, just introduce me to your brothers.
So how did she feel having that? You're probably her first crush ever, and you just broke her down.
Well, you know what? It actually went smooth because the talk was there. You know, the whole thing is, it's all about communication. It's all about talking, and it's all about letting that person know who has feelings for me. That is completely not my type, obviously.
Hmm.
And it's, girl, like, the moment we talk, I told her straight up. I said, I am not interested in girls. I'm very interested in, you know, my own kind, and I hope you understand where I'm coming from,
Hmm.
and let's just keep it friends. And, you know, you can be my besties. We can be sisters. You can always, like, you know, count on me to call me if you need help, or, you know, if you want to go dinner, if you want to go lunch or whatever, you can always call me. But you liking, if you can't handle that and you still, like, want to do more than that, I'm so sorry. I cannot.
Oh, gotta fire Tifa. Well, sis, I mean, so did she introduce you to her brother?
I knew the brother. I knew the brother. Because the brother was actually my brother's best friend. Yeah, no.
I love it. Oh, so speaking of relationships, right, Tifa? So who
Hmm.
so talk about your, your first date with your Mr. Right, or your first love. How did that go?
Oh my gosh, Eileen, it was so romantic. It was beautiful. It was unique. It was one of a kind. It was something that I've always wanted, it was beautiful, My very first boyfriend was in I was a freshman in high school, and we dated, obviously very down low, and we didn't want everyone to know because of the whole judgmental people are surrounded by us. But
Right.
um it was nice, so we had to, because we had to keep everything down low. Everything had to happen in the car, meaning he would have to pick me up from behind the locker rooms, take me to 7-Eleven. We go eat sushi, have a little date inside the car,
Oh, I
going to
love
park at the
it.
beautiful beach, watching the sunsets, like those kind of things. Like same things what everyone goes through when they're dating.
Right. So inquiring minds want to know, sis, what nationality was he? Was he local, Hawaiian, Samoan?
He was Hawaiian.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, I love it. E como mai, hele mai, all
Aloha
oh my.
kakahiyaka mai, right?
Yes,
Yes.
anything end with my, yeah, it's on there. So yeah, it was beautiful. It was nice. It was unique. It was very demure.
Very demure. Okay. So Tifa, we're gonna move on to our next question, which relates to culture, right? Culture shock and, and some healing. I mean, when I talk about healing, girl, you are all about the healing. So how do you handle being too Polynesian for America and too American to for Polynesia?
Mm, can you rephrase the question, please? Sorry.
Yes. So let me put it, so what was the hardest part, right? What was the hardest part of you coming into yourself in Alaska versus, here in America?
Okay,
Sorry, on the Big Island. Sorry, on the Big Island.
the hardest part about being myself coming into America, which is the big island in Hawaii, right?
Yes.
So I mean, I like I said before, it was the hardest part about me coming into Hawaii, the big island, was as the very first time in America in Hawaii was learning the language, of course, and
Mhm.
um being myself. It was, like all the things that I used to said. Um, yeah, it was just hard for me to be myself. But you know what? It's actually funny because I just want to say this. It was hard for me coming out in elementary, but after in elementary and somewhat high school. But you know what? Guess what? Because after high school, now that the whole transitioning is happening, a lot of them are
Mhm.
like in the DM and trying to and when
Trying
I
to
see them
holler
again,
at you.
girl, they tried it.
Oh.
They sure tried it. Like it's in the DM, and they just need to where they stay in the DM.
So the DM meaning your Tinder DM, sis? It's okay.
Tinder DM, text messages DM, Facebook DM, Instagram DM, and
I love it.
all of the above.
Right? So, all you single males out there, yes, my sister has her Tinder, Facebook, YouTube. You got it. You name it.
Oh.
So, all aside from laughs, right? From laughs and jokes, what's one toxic cultural narrative, sister, we need to retire for Fa'afafines?
Mm. Um, one of the toxic narrative for Fafafines, um, I don't know. That's a very good question. I
So something that, you know, maybe like a negative, right? Like a negative slogan that um, the Now America has for Fafafine or LGBT, you know, queers.
You know what I mean? I feel like right now, with everything that is happening in this world with the Orange Man, I think, it's already as negative as there already is. But I feel
Mhm.
like for the LGBTQ plus IA community, people should always be strong and just come along. I mean, we came a long way. And one thing that I will say is that for us to stick together and just continue being together, because it's already bad as it looks and bad as it is with everything that is happening. I mean, my fellow trans sisters, trans brothers who are also in the military, I don't know if you heard about the thing that is happening about not allowing the trans here, not allowing the trans there. I mean, it's already getting a lot of mess, a lot of messy inside this,
Right.
especially with my community. And when I think of that, it's like, why are you so focused on the LGBTQ plus IA community when you can focus on other things that are way more important
Hmm.
than than touching us for something that we're so easy fix, right? I mean, the whole gender changing, the whole transporting, there was, I also read about like something about in jail about the trans man needs to go where the woman's at, and the trans woman needs to go where the man's at, and it's just it's mm-mm. It's sad. It's very very attack. I feel attack, right? And
Mhm.
how the trans work so hard to be in the military, and it's it's sad. It's very sad to hear.
Yeah, I totally hear where you're coming from, and when we say times are changing, and how do you feel about it? Do you think it's changing for the better or is just getting worse?
I feel like it's getting worse, to be completely honest. Um, there's a lot of changes happening, but it's nothing positive for on my end or what I hear or see, especially within my LGBTQ plus IA community, my QTPIs. And QTPIs spells QTPI, stands for Queer Trans Pacific Islanders. And it's I feel like it's going backwards, it's not going forward to see the light at the end of the tunnel. I feel
Mhm.
like everything is going backwards, where it's like back to square one.
I totally hear. I mean, I see it on the news every day. So, with that being said, what's something sacred about Fafafine's identity that the world overlooks at times?
A lot of things. I feel like a lot of things the world overlooks at when it comes to Fafafines. Although we present ourselves with how we want to be called, they still, it's either they clock it and they start making fun of us,
Mhm.
or they started it's like I said, it's like going backwards, where they started bullying the Fafafines, especially the young ones. And for that, it's like it's very it's very sad. Like I said before, I feel attacked by the community, by
Mhm.
watching random videos that I see about my community people. Um, yeah, I think it's our another thing is our genders, our sexual identity,
Mhm.
our our hormones, resources, um, clinics,
Yeah.
and
Thank
so
you,
forth.
Tifa. Thank you, sister. Have you ever felt like our culture and your queerness were ever in conflict?
Um, oh my God. Why are you putting me in this? I think, you know what, to be honest, I feel like One thing for sure is like I love my trans, I really do. But one thing for sure when it comes to culture, it's always there's the boundaries. There's always that
Mhm.
boundaries when it comes to Fafafines, and I'm talking specifically about the Pea and the Tatao and the Malu and all that stuff, right? Like when I think about
Yes.
Fafafines and culture, I think of that. And I think that it's something that we're not supposed to. I mean, we already seen it, right? There's already Fafafines who are getting malus, or there's also Fafafines who are also Fafatama that's also getting Soy Miki and stuff like that. And
Mhm.
I think for me personally, I think it's something that we shouldn't touch in the very beginning to start off with. I say that with respect because obviously I don't want to feel attacked after this podcast, but I do I will say that I it's very it's sacred. Like those are the things that we
Mhm.
shouldn't be touched. My especially to my dear sisters and brothers, um, you know, who wants to get that, you know. You can still I heard that you can still be a Matai being a Fafafine. I mean that's a plus,
Yeah,
right?
that's true. That's
But
very true.
doing a doing like going deeper into like getting the tatao and stuff like that, I think I'm not so for it. I'm not. I, it kukuha niya the model to the real woman's, and the song I make it to the romance. So yeah,
And you know,
that's
Antifa, I mean, that's again, that's your opinion. I mean, it's you're
mm-hmm,
not speaking for every person, but again, and I think that's one thing good about pop is that when you're telling your story, this is your truth. Nobody else's but
right.
yours. So if one is offended by your story or what you believe, then to its own, right? Because again, there's always going to be Tifa, right? Tifa is just going to keep on thriving and rising, and no one's going to, ever put you on the side or put
Yes.
you down, sis. So, yes,
Yes.
I love
Thank
it.
you.
You're welcome. So, Tifa, I know you come from a big family, right? A family of faith. Um, you know, um, do you think, and you can tell me yes or no, we can skip this question. Do you think the church owes the Fafafine community an apology or a conversation that should happen? Um, when I say apology, because so, for example, there were many viral videos that was going on. I believe it was last year, and how a Faifeao was, degrading a Fafafine in their congregation. So there was a lot of blowback on that. Um, but I'm not sure if you're aware of it. But how do you feel about that?
I mean, okay, so to answer the question, do I feel like the church owes Fafa Phoenix an apology or have a conversation? To answer that question, I think the church should have a conversation with the Fafafines. I think it's so good to get to know one another, right?
Mm-hmm.
About where the kind of people that we are and what we do. Because if I have uncles and aunties who are also Fefe Owls, and I have families who are Fefe Owls and Falituas and uh, all over the world, you know. But I
Mm-hmm.
think to owe an apology, no, I don't. I am not for that. But having a conversation with Asafa Phoenix would be something that is important to know, and having that conversation with Asafa Phoenix, because if we think about it, I'm not okay. Well, if we think about it, Fafa Phoenix are a lot. Not all Fafa Phoenix are right. Like not all Fafa Phoenix are. Okay, I was going somewhere with my story, but now I forgot where I was going. But anyways, um, Fafafines, a lot of them has graduated with higher level of understanding. A lot of Fafafines who are very akamai. A lot of Fafafines who are lele felako ile fainga felele decorating churches, decorating pageants, decorating a lot of things. And some Fafafines, they're very good at doing both, like decorating inside the house, doing all the fit outs inside, and also the fit out outside where the men's are at, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yes.
um, there is even if like I think with the degrade, I think I know which video you're talking about that happened last year. I mean, you know what? To be honest with you, Eileen, it will never stop. It's still gonna keep going, and it's always going to happen. And there's always going to be a church that is degrading a fafafine when they see one, right?
Hmm.
So I think having a conversation with Fafafines would be more something that they should do more. Only because only because we're already. I feel like the LGBT plus community is already judged by so many things, right?
Hmm.
Like so many things, not only churches but outside of that, like their personality too, they're even getting judged by that, right? So it's maybe, yeah, to answer the question, is having a conversation.
Okay. And hopefully in the future it'll be a positive, right? A meaningful to where, we can find balance and peace moving forward. So Tifa,
Absolutely.
how do you after, I had asked the question pertaining to that, how do you spiritually recharge when the world feels heavy on you, on your shoulders, on your pearls?
um I do a lot of different things, right? I usually do self-care. For myself,
Hmm.
I usually do pedicure and manicure. I talk to my mom, the person that I'm close to,
Hmm.
about, whatever the situation that I'm going through. I talk to my sister, my siblings, about, everything that is so heavy on me. And lastly, I pray. I pray to God. I am a true Fafafine, but my belief in God is still stronger than ever. My faith in God, I still believe that there is a God that will answer my prayers, that is still standing by my side, behind me through every step of the way. Every thing that I do every day is because of him, waking up the next morning,
Amen.
thank God, you
Hmm.
know. Um, but yeah, those are the things that I usually do when the world is having on me, like completely heavy on me. I do self-care. I talk to my close friends, my close family. I talk to my siblings, and I pray.
Yeah, you just gotta have that faith. I love it. I love
Mm-hmm.
your self care. I'm all about self care, sis. Because if not for
Yes,
self care, girl, we'd be burnout and Lord knows
absolutely.
what else, right? Okay. So we're gonna, that power. Okay, can you hear me now? Okay. So Tifa, so we're gonna go ahead and move on to, your current, right? Leading Utopia, the Presidente of Utopia, Miss Madame President of Utopia Alaska. What does the name Utopia mean to you personally?
The word utopia it stands for United Territory of Pacific Islanders Alliances. And when I think of the word utopia, I think of the word family. I think of my chosen family. I think of, so utopia. I think of a big umbrella, and under that umbrella, there's a lot of chosen family of people like myself. I see a lot of people that I can, it's a place where I feel so free. It's a place where I feel I can be my true authentic self.
Mm-hmm.
And the reason why is because we have a lot of different branches in this world. You know, we have Utopia, Alaska. We have Utopia, Washington. We have Utopia Las Vegas. We have Utopia Oregon.
Wow.
We have Utopia. So Utopia is we even have
Worldwide.
we even have Utopia Hawaii. We have the Sophias, the Society of Fafafine from Western Samoa. Like it's slowly growing, you know. With when I think of Utopia, I think of happiness. I think of love. I think of a lot of amazing things. I think of my sisters, my brothers, um, who are, you know, who are who are so happy to be outside of that closet, who are I when I think of Utopia, I think of our mission and our visions, which is creating safe space for young Fafafinas to come out and be themselves.
Oh,
And that right
yes.
there, it's like
Absolutely. Utopia in itself.
Utopia in itself. And that's the whole Utopia. And I'm proud. I'm so proud to be, leading this organization of Alaska
Mm-hmm.
and to be part of this leadership, to share my experience with everyone, because the moment I step down, of course I'm gonna freaking miss it. I'm gonna miss the girls. I'm gonna miss everyone. I'm not saying I'm leaving, but I'm just saying like I'm gonna miss the whole busyness, the whole attending to different pageantry of other utopias to represent Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the things that I'm gonna miss, and it's 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 just so beautiful. I mean, we have. I just want to share with you that Utopia, also, in the very beginning of the year, I feel like the year of 2025, this is the most I've ever traveled, because of Utopia, because
Mm-hmm.
of my community, and in the very beginning of January, we had a creating change conference, and it was held in Las Vegas. We were at the
Wow.
Rio Hotel, and it was
How
so beautiful. I mean,
fitting.
it was nothing but people who are part of my community that was there, and it was so like it's so I feel like I can just be myself. I can just wake up in the morning and just wash my face, go shower, and just walk straight down without even worrying about wearing any lipstick, any makeup, anything like that to entertain
Mm-hmm.
other people, because they're also entertainers. That's that's the spirit that I love, like about the creating change conference that I went to in Las Vegas, and you see so many other Fafafines from. It was a very diverse, right? You see a lot of
Mm-hmm.
Taatauli, you see a lot of Pahalangi, you see a lot of Samoans, a lot of Tongans, and so forth, and after that travel, it was a 1 week conference. It was so beautiful. I mean, I'm telling you, it was so beautiful because I felt free. I felt like, oh my gosh, like, girl, like I don't even need to dress up. Like I can literally wash my hair and go downstairs with my not natural curly hair without even worrying about it, because that was my insecure. I have to straighten my hair every time when I go in public. But this
Yes.
kind of public, it was a different
Mm-hmm.
public. It was a different
No
public where you
judgment kind
feel
of public,
no
right?
judge at all, no judge
Mm-hmm.
whatsoever. You like this was the public that I feel like I've been searching for my whole freaking life. And
Mm-hmm.
like this is it, this is where it's at. And then come to the month of April, I traveled again to Miss Island Goddess in Seattle, and
I
I
did
witnessed.
see that on your story. I'm like, oh my gosh, check out that queen. She's just traveling. I was
Oh,
like, yes, sister.
it was so nice. I mean, I'm telling you, the pageants of Utopia Washington that they put on every single year, it's
Yes.
top notch. Beautiful, beautiful. Okay, so
Mm-hmm.
nice. And that with the winner of Miss Desi Bartley. Oh, she was so sickening. She was giving. And then
Yes,
in the
very
same month
beautiful.
and the top the very my top part about my favorite part about the pageant was I got to see my family because my whole family is in Seattle. I'm talking about my mom, my dad, my siblings, my grandparents, my nieces, my nephews, my first cousins. you
Mm-hmm.
know they were all in Seattle, and that was my favorite part about Seattle, is that I get to travel and I get to see all of them. And that was the best part about going to Seattle. And then, mind you, this was beginning of April, right?
Mm-hmm.
Towards the
Yes.
ending of April, I traveled to American Samoa for 1 week to witness the winner of Sophia's of
Okay.
Miss Bella. Miss Bella. Oh my gosh, I forgot her last name. Forgive me, Bella. But Miss Sophia's 2025, 2026, who's also part of the House of Medici. And okay, it was nice. Sophia's was beautiful, nice, with Villa down. But
Yes,
it
being back
was
home. Mm-hmm.
but you know what? It's something about being back home that actually makes me free too, for some reason. You know, like just being back home without my parents, without anyone, like I can just, go to the bar and come home like around 6 in the morning. Like just down. Like I would from like west side, going to the east side, going to the west side again, coming back to the east. Like it's so beautiful. Like I was free, girl. I was free, like free bad. And now, like I'm back home in Alaska. Now we're prepping
Mm-hmm.
for our pageant, and we're hoping and to see how many people's gonna show up. I'm pretty sure it's gonna be a full pageant. I
It
can
is.
assure
It's
you
going to be
that.
a sold out pageant.
It's going to be, because this is the pageant not only that our current Miss Deandra Medici Brown is stepping down, but I'm also stepping down, so it's going to
Well,
be
sister, don't
one of a
forget
kind.
us when you're doing your, when you do step down, right?
Mm-hmm. Of course.
So, what is your proudest moment? You talk about Utopia, leading Utopia Alaska. As the president of Utopia Alaska, what is your proudest moment being the president of Utopia of Alaska?
You know what, Eileen? My proudest moments of being a president for Utopia Alaska is that I never give up. I learned so much when becoming the president of Utopia Alaska, and most importantly, it was the hardest one was being patient.
Mm-hmm.
You have a board. I have a board that I have to work together with, because prior to becoming a president for Utopia Alaska, I thought to myself, like, oh my gosh, I'm making the final call. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and say yes. We can have a everybody meets at the bar. Yes, to we're gonna have a karaoke night. Yes to all the may lawaloy kupe, lawaloy kupe. But no, it doesn't work like that. I learned so much, meaning I learned how to communicate with the board, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because that is my main team, right?
Yes.
And then I learned how to be patient with a lot of things that the community, I mean, that the organization wants, right?
Mm-hmm.
So these ideas that are they're bringing into the board, and the board has to like talk it out, kind of thing. It's very unique. It's so nice just to sit there and listening to the team and communicating, and learning about the pros and cons of the idea that was brought to our attention from our organization members. It's just it's very touchable. I think it touches me so much that, damn, as time flies too, it's like, oh my gosh, like I'm almost done. Because
Mm-hmm.
being a president, you can only be president up until for two
For two
years.
years, yes, yes.
And
Being
now that
that you
my
were, mm-hmm.
and now that my time is almost up, our pageant is it's every first Saturday of November, which this year it falls on the first. I feel lucky. I'm so lucky to have this group, this organization. I really do. I really do feel lucky. I do. And I'm proud to say that. And I'm proud of everything that I work with the board, alongside with the board and everyone else, the members of Utopia Alaska.
Oh, that's so awesome, Tifa. I mean, definitely working together, communication, right, is key. So, talk about what leadership lesson did you have to learn the hard way being in that position? Was there a lesson,
Um,
like a hard way, a lesson learned?
Yes. Yes, definitely. I mean, like we always say, it's always communication, I mean. Communication is key to to success. It's always key to letting another person know. It's always important to have debriefing. It's always important to um meaning I cannot just stand up and do things on my own, right? Without letting the board know. For instance, if I
Mhm.
were to just up and leave and go represent Utopia Alaska to the pageant of Seattle without letting them know,
Mhm.
that's a lesson learned for me to like, okay, see, this is falls down to being patient. It's like some of the Utopia board members are working, right? They have work, and when um like I just have to be patient. Like sometimes this is my speed. Like hurry up, hurry up. But I have to like speed down
Like go
because
slower with
I
them. Mhm.
yes I have to communicate to the board about what's gonna happen. What are we doing? How are we doing it? And etc.
Was there ever a moment, Tifa, um, that you wanted to walk away from Utopia because things were getting just too much for you, or your priorities were just out of place, right? You had home, family, work, because because Mary, you work a 8 to 5 or a 9 to 5 job every day, right? Or
Hmm.
and even on the
Hmm.
weekends. Like, how did it
Hmm.
serve you when things were just too much for you?
You know what, Eileen? There were so many times where I feel like I just want to quit. I just want to walk away. I just want to forget about everything and just go and leave the organization.
Hmm.
But, I always think back to what was the reason why I joined in the first place? Or I would always think back to one of my good friends who was the president before me that if she can do it, I can do it too. I think one of the moments where I feel that way of wanting to walk away is because of a lot of like I couldn't prioritize work and I was having a hard time multitasking. Like I was having a hard time doing work and hard time doing myself, fixing my mental health, and also like doing utopia work all at the same time. So that to me it was like, okay, no. And also when I first joined Utopia Alaska,
Hmm.
I was nominated to be the vice president at first. Like
Yeah.
starting my time, I was the vice president. I think you remember that I was the vice president, and then after being the vice president, jumped straight into being a president, mind you, with no experience whatsoever. I don't know anything about being a president. I don't know anything about being the top leader of like a LGBTQ of cutie pies. Like, what am
Hmm.
I doing? Why am I putting myself in a situation where I don't know how to handle? But you know what? I'm a type of person that I can learn. Like I will learn this position as I go.
Most
And like I said,
definitely.
with the help of your board members who has been in that board position for a very long time. I'm talking about like my admin Moesha, who was the president for 8 years of this organization. And alongside with her, she had my secretary now, who's Dash, and treasurer Leisha, who knows how everything works. And not only that, the people that are also in my board also handles other organizations, are also leaders to other organizations within Alaska. So
Hmm.
I have a board that not only that can help me through my position as a president, but they also have the experience, right, of what
Hmm.
they do in their leadership with their own organization. So if I have any questions or if they see me falling, like I never felt so trusted with other people that they can lift me up and pick me up and continue to keep going. And I am grateful. I am so grateful and so what's the word? Grateful and just so happy to have people like them on my end.
And it sounds like, they played a strong part in you and supporting you as the president of Utopia. I know
Yes.
you had said that why you, right? And Tifa, why you? And for me, it's because you're very proud. You're loud but very proud. But also you're strong and you're very resilient, a beautiful queen as you are. But girl, you always speak your mind, and sometimes people are intimidated by that. But bitch, you know me. Yeah, like we can
And
tune.
that is
So
why I'm so happy to be part of this Puzzle Polynesian hot seat because we go way back. Like you used to live here in Alaska too, and we kind of work together at the South Central Foundation, and that right there like really did like open up my eyes and open up myself to like continue like the way like people even when people are like uplifting you and like telling you you're doing good sis, keep going sis, like it makes me want to
mm,
like keep going and I'm gonna keep doing it. Like that's how I feel
yeah.
like with the president's position. Keep going, sis. You're almost done. Yes, I see November at the end of my tunnel. And I cannot wait to step down and just support Utopia Alaska from the side.
Oh, I
And
love it.
I appreciate all the compliments, sister. Thank you so much for all the kind words. I appreciate it so much. Thank you very much. And
You're
likewise.
welcome. You're welcome, sister. So we're gonna go ahead and turn it down, right? The tone down a little. So sis, so we're gonna be vulnerable right now.
Okay.
Be real. What does burnout feel like in your body? When you're burnout, like how do you feel, or what makes you burn out or feel burnout?
When you overwork, when you overdo something that um you put yourself into. Like I'm talking about this has nothing to do with the utopia, right? We moved on.
Mhm.
So I'm
Yeah.
talking about I'm gonna bring back an old job that I used to do. I used to be a letter carrier. And a letter carrier, it's at the post office. We deliver mails.
Mhm.
So they expect me to be at work at 6 a.m. and doesn't get off until 11 or almost midnight at night. And then they expect me to be back at work at 6 in the morning. And you don't have any probation until after 2 years. Some
Right.
jobs where after probation is like 90 days or 6 months probation. No, this one was 2 years probation. It didn't last me.
Wow.
No, it definitely I didn't last in that job, because my mental health was important, and I felt like a machine. Wait, I felt like a machine where I have to like work
But
24
sis,
7.
you are a
Like,
machine.
girl, that's all I had to do is just up, go to work, come home, shower, sleep. Up, go to work, come home, shower, sleep. Like, that's what I've been doing. Like, sometimes I was losing so much weight, which is good. I forgot
Mhm.
to eat lunch and dinner and breakfast. Yeah, you just keep going. And that's what burnout feels like to me. It feels like I'm literally burning I'm burning. Like, stop.
And it didn't help, like you had said, it didn't help your mental, wellness too, right?
Right.
So I
Right.
totally get
Absolutely.
it.
But I will say that one good thing about like, burning out, which is I don't recommend anyone to do it, is the money was good. Like keep that money coming in. The money was really good. But
But it just,
importantly is
yeah,
our mental health.
absolutely, absolutely. You know, we talk about, being strong, resilient, Tifa. Was there ever a time where you had to be the strong one, even though you just wanted to break down and cry?
Absolutely. Absolutely. There was a time where um there was a time where me and my sister, I don't know if I already told you that my little sister moved here with me,
Hmm.
to be with me here in Alaska. And I helped her with getting a job of where I'm currently working at. And her job, that what she really wants is like, um, to become a lawyer. She just graduated from Washington State University with criminal justice. And when
Wow.
she came here, she wanted to at least get her foot in the door of talking about um sorry, getting her foot into the door about like becoming a lawyer. So to me, at that point, we applied her for a probational officer, starting from
Mhm.
at least getting her foot in the door, right? So
Right.
a probation officer, and she kept working as a case manager for me at the with me at the Arc of Anchorage, and nothing worked. Eileen, like she applied there, didn't get it. She applied for another position inside the courthouse, didn't get it. Like I felt like, okay, like I just wanna, like I'm doing everything that I can to help with a sibling of mine to get through the door. It's
Hmm.
like I don't know. I felt like God has better plans, I guess, for the both me and her to like go a different route or something. I don't know. But that's one of the moments where I feel like um I truly helped someone, but even though I couldn't help myself.
So, I mean, so was she able to get through? I mean, was she able to get a job where you were at?
Yes, she is now working for me where I'm at the Arc of Anchorage. She is the case manager,
Oh,
and
awesome.
she is on top. Like she can work. And I'm proud of her for doing that. However, she just like got accepted at she wanted to go back to school to get a another major. I mean another what is that called? Bachelor at UW in Seattle. So God is so
Wow.
good.
Exactly. Well, congratulations to her and to you for always um, being her anchor and just, encouraging her sister. Sister, um, what does loneliness look like for someone that's always surrounded by people?
Loneliness looks like, you know what? One thing about me, Eileen, I will say that I'm very good at hiding my face of either I'm hurt or after I cry or after I just woke up. Like I'm very good at
Mhm.
hiding my face where I have to be in public. Very good at hiding my face where I'm going through things in life. I'm very good at hiding my face with um all of those things. But deep down when people are asking me, are you okay, in a deeper level, it's like I don't know, like I'm okay, I feel okay, but am I
Mhm.
really? Do I feel lonely? Yes, absolutely. But it's all about my presentation. I feel like it's all about my facial expression that I give every day when I go in public, when I go to work.
Mhm.
Um, there was this moment when my great grandmother passed away, and literally I just found out, for example, tonight and tomorrow I have a biggest walkthrough at my work that I needed to be there, right? So the power of makeup, I'm telling you, girl, the power of makeup will literally put away all those sadness, those tears, and just win the day, right? And I always turn on my ego song, my alter ego songs of my favorite celebrities or
Mhm.
my favorite artists, and I just go to work and just finish the day. And then the moment I come back home, Eileen, I am telling you, I am on my knees. I am like just doing my purse. I'm like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe I did that. um you know and w- the walkthrough, we did it, we passed, and that's a plus,
Oh,
right?
well,
But deeper
congratulations.
down deeper down, see, like that, it's like people congratulate me, but am I happy?
Are
Those kind
you?
of things, like I'm asking inside myself, inside my Well, this was during the time when my grandmother passed away, so fuck no, I wasn't happy. I was sad. I was so sad.
That you just wanted to scream and pull your hairs, right,
I just
sis?
wanted to come home and just, yeah, literally everything, and just throw dishes everywhere and just not want to be part of anything in public. I just wanted to be alone?
Mm-hmm. So, so Tifa, you know, now that you talked about your vulnerability, right, and your self care,
Okay.
Tifa, what brings you joy, no matter how your day is going?
Alcohol. I'm just
Oh
kidding.
yes, I love that alcohol. Give me
um,
that pineapple rum, right, sis?
yes. Like, I just want to be like, what brightens my day, Eileen, to be honest with you, is like good company, good people. With me being independent here in Alaska, I like to go to the bar. I like to just sit down and have a chat with my close friends, with the girls, have a little kiki here and
Mhm.
there, and just having a good time. And bar hopping, that's what really brings happy in my life. But to bring peace in my life, I like to be lonely. I like to be alone. I like to catch up with my series on Netflix. I like to um yeah, catch up with my series on Netflix. And what else? I like
And make
long
sure your
drives.
state is intact.
Absolutely. Sorry about that. I like long drives. I like to try different restaurants, right?
Mhm.
And yeah, that's what brings me peace and brings me happy is good company.
Oh, I love it. So tell us about a time you were absolutely like shut it down, like you left the room, like when you walked in and walked back out, and people are like, "Oh my gosh, Tifa was here, the queen was here, that bitch was here."
So I had a conference like back when we first opened up our program at work. And what I do for work is I work for the Arc of Anchorage under the program of the Adult Mental Health Residential.
Mm-hmm.
And I had my boss to go with me and represent our program. And during that time, it was like my boss actually wanted me to talk on behalf of our program because it was very new. And, a lot of them when you think of the Arc of Anchorage, you think of disabilities, individuals, you think of wheelchairs, disabled individuals. And so
Mm-hmm.
when I started talking about the adult mental health residential, which is slightly different from everyone else's program, we deal with there's two different level of cures. There's level one where we focus more on stabilization, and there can only stay inside our program for about 90 days, and
Mm-hmm.
that's 90 days. That's what, 3 months? Yes, that is 3 months. And then versus level two, where the individuals um being independence, right? Because the
Mm-hmm.
longer for that program is 180 days, which is 6 months. So when I was talking about our program, I literally didn't take a pause, right? I was just talking and just on it and just going with the flow and just adding some fun into the
Mm-hmm.
speech. And you see a lot of
Tifa, as you prepare to step down, right, as Presidente of Utopia Alaska, what are you taking with you and what are you leaving behind?
You know what, Eileen? One of the things that I'm going to be taking with me after my reigning for president,
Mhm.
I want to take all the lessons that I've learned from from being the president. We talked about being patient. We talked about communication. We talked about letting all the board know. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Okay. We talked about like yeah, everything, like all the good things. I want to take away attending um all the different pageantries to represent Utopia Alaska. Those are the things I'm going to take with me because it will stay with me forever. And the things that
Mhm.
I'm not going to be taking with me is all the negative bullshit that I had to deal with when I was the president. So any negativity coming my way when I was the president, either I hurt someone's feeling or hurt another organization because I was representing the Utopia Alaska. Um, it is what it is. You know, the show must go on.
Absolutely. But our sister, Tifa Imwana, we thank you for uh, being on tonight with Pulse of Polynesia. Your radiant ride through resilience, royalty, and representation. From the heart of Whanga'alu to the soul of Anchorage, Tifa reminds us that pride isn't just a celebration, it's a calling. So this is the pulse of Polynesia, where every beat is bold, every story is sacred, and every queen is unstoppable. Until next time, keep your mana strong and your sparkle stronger. Fafitai Lava and happy pride. Bye.